Police shoot an armed man in East Norman. OU students joined the worldwide support for Paris, and Oklahoma braces for the severe weather expected tonight. OU Nightly starts now. Well, you know, Ashley, it's mid-November, but we're getting some pretty spring-like weather here in Norman.
We definitely are. We've seen some of the rain earlier today. Can we be expecting more of that later on in the week?
No, guys, we're not really looking at it later in the week. However, we are watching it for tonight. Here's what we have going on. We have a severe weather outlook. On a scale of 1 to 5, we're at a 3 right now. An enhanced risk for severe weather out across western Oklahoma and into central Oklahoma. This does include the Oklahoma City metro and Norman areas here. So definitely want to be weather aware as we go into this evening hours. Outside, you can see it's definitely a very cloudy one out there, but due to that, that's really increasing those temperatures and those dew points, which really is going to bring fuel for these thunderstorms later on this afternoon. Now, right now, we do have a tornado watch out for the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles there. So people in Guyman, you are under a tornado watch as we go through the next several hours. That expires this evening at 10 p.m. However, as we take a look at your headlines, I'll have much more on the severe weather, timing on your cold front, and a cooler temperatures expected as we head into your weekend next weekend when we return. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Joe. Today's weather on campus was a gloomy backdrop for an outpouring of emotion from students feeling the pain from atrocities in Paris. More than 100 OU students gathered at the seed sower this morning to show their support for the victims of the attacks. The students held signs, spoke, and prayed together. People of all nationalities and religions united to begin the healing process. Foreign exchange student and native of France organized the event.
So this event was about showing our support for the victims in Paris, so that we are united. The second aspect is also to engage in conversations about immigration. There are a lot of international students here at OU who are far from home, and in these times, I don't think that I'm the only one who thinks that I would like to be home right now, and I hope that we won't stop here with gathering under the seed sower. That's not the point.
There will be a candlelight vigil at the seed sower statue tonight at 5:30.
And Annie Durbin joins us now in the News Center with the latest on Paris attacks. Annie.
Thanks, Tyler. Well, the terrorist attacks on Friday that left at least 129 people dead and 352 injured in Paris have led to ongoing raids and airstrikes in Syria today. Belgian officials said 2 suspects remain under arrest for attempted terrorism. Meanwhile, a judge released 5 of the 7 people detained over the weekend as suspects in the terror attacks. Many nations are now taking extreme caution after ISIS listed a kill list that included the United States. A spokesman for OU said 5 students are studying abroad in Paris this semester. All of them are safe. And an intense international manhunt is underway for the remaining known suspect. A 26-year-old French citizen is the last surviving of the 8 wanted terrorists. He was stopped and questioned after the attacks, but police let him go. A French newspaper reported he rented the black Volkswagen that was found outside the Bataclan concert hall. The other suspects either detonated suicide belts or were shot by police. And despite growing worldwide pressure, President Obama insists the U.S. should continue to avoid putting boots on the ground.
Who suggested that we should put large numbers of U.S. troops on the ground? It is not just my view, but the view of my closest military and civilian advisors that that would be a mistake.
Shortly after the news conference, the president left Turkey for Asia and back-to-back summits in Manila and Kuala Lumpur. That's what's happening around the world. Now back to the news desk.
Thanks, Annie. A Norman man is recovering in a local hospital after being shot by Norman police. Police say Mark James Rydell was yelling inside his home, then walked outside, leading to the call. When police arrived, they confronted the man, which led to a shootout. The man was shot and taken to Norman Regional. His condition is unknown at this time. No officers were injured.
Today's nasty weather tested OU students racing to class. It also made for a quieter campus, silencing a voice that's a little too familiar to a lot of students.
Evil, evil, deed.
For a couple of weeks, preacher Gerald Rice has been patrolling OU's South Oval, expressing his opinions about abortion, homosexuality, and even President Obama. He is one of several preachers who loudly engage in free speech on the university property. Most students ignore the ear-splitting lectures and just keep on moving, but others take exception to the loud morality lessons. OU spokesman Corbin Wallace told us OU allows free speech on campus as a constitutional right. The university asks speakers to register, but they are not required to do so. Rice and others are sometimes heckled or even confronted by students, but Wallace says there have been no altercations reported. And still ahead on OU Nightly, with only a few hours left to vote for SGA president, OU Nightly's Vanessa Prado is sitting down with the candidates for one last minute on their thoughts.
Plus, an update on a toxic Oklahoma town.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. Nearly 3,000 Sooners cast their votes for OU's new SGA president last week, eliminating one candidate but leaving Isaac Hill and Daniel Pay head-to-head in an election runoff. Both received around 40% of the votes. Today, Isaac and Daniel join me again less than 5 hours before the polls close, guys. So I'm going to give you your last chance right here on OU Nightly. Tell me why, each of you, I'm going to give you a brief time. Why do you deserve this spot? Why are you the best candidate? We'll start with you, Isaac.
Well, I've had the opportunity to represent our university on the national level, and that provided with me a really unique experience to put myself in being an advocate for our students. And then I've also worked diligently with all of the multicultural organizations across campus and all of our inclusion organizations, and I've worked diligently trying to find the best solutions to try and make all of us work together. And I think these combinations, along with Leah's experience with the Student Government Association, have all built us into a great ticket to complement each other well.
All right, Daniel.
Well, thank you, Vanessa, for your question. We believe that we are the best candidates because of our combination of experience, vision, and commitment to helping the student body. Michael's been in the executive branch, I've been in the legislative branch. We have a very comprehensive platform, and we are committed to listening to the student body. We're all on the South Oval today, all day. We're going to be going to CAF after this interview, and so we're committed to listening to the student body. And I'd say regardless of what happens tonight, I think the key takeaway is that OU deserved a contested election. They deserved and needed a contested election because it provided the students a choice about what direction to take the campus. And I think Isaac's been, regardless of what happens, I think we both ran good campaigns, and so may the best person win tonight.
Absolutely, and it's been, a great election this time. I mean, the numbers I said in the last time were single digits in the votes, and this time almost 3,000 people voted.
Yes.
So that's a great
Tremendous,
thing.
yeah.
I also want to hear real quickly from both of you, what's your first order of business? If you win tonight, what's your main goal? What's the first thing you want to do, Daniel?
I think the first thing to do is assemble a cabinet that is representative of the student body, because Michael and I, we can't do everything on our own. We need to have a good team in place, and we're not just going to handpick our friends and the people on our campaign team. We really want to have a thorough and inclusive vetting process. That way we can find the most passionate, the most qualified people on this campus to be in our cabinet. That way we together can tackle the sustainability issues, the debt week reform, and all the other issues on our platform, because it's not just going to be us, it's going to be a collaborative effort on the part of us and our cabinet, as well as the rest of the student body.
All right, Isaac.
And then also, I want to, along with building a great cabinet, I think it's important that we really reach out and present ourselves to the community and say, like, we're here, thank you, and we're here to represent you, and we want to make sure we are representing you.
All right. Well, good luck to the both of you. Now, if you haven't voted for SGA president yet, you can still log on to elections.ou.edu, cast your vote for Isaac or Daniel. The polls close tonight at 9. Back to the news desk.
Thank you. Jennifer is here now with the Earth Report. And Jennifer, I hear you have an update on a specific town in Oklahoma.
Yes, Tyler. We told you previously about the Tar Creek Superfund site near Pitcher in northeast Oklahoma. Former residents of the most toxic town in America are getting a little help. When the federal government forced residents to move away from the dangerous Tar Creek area, many in Pitcher claim that appraisers intentionally lowballed home estimates before the citywide buyout. A court-ordered settlement has awarded $1.3 million to the homeowners. Half of that money will pay for attorneys, and the other half will be split among the 161 homeowners. That's about $4,000 per household. In the wake of the Paris terror attacks, questions arose about the fate of the landmark UN Climate Change Conference in Paris at the end of this month. French leaders say the 2-week event will still happen, but with enhanced security and scaled-down festivities. President Obama and the Secretary of State John Kerry will be among the 120 heads of state attending. The UN talks were expected to draw around 40,000 people to Paris before the attacks happened. And the EPA is stepping up efforts to test the diesel emissions in new vehicles. The new testing will focus on real-world road conditions instead of laboratory tests currently being used. The test will involve attaching special machines to the rear of the car or putting them in the trunk. The change comes after Volkswagen cheated on emission tests on over 11 million cars worldwide. So you guys, it'll be really interesting to see what those tests. I feel like on the road and the laboratory is really different settings. So we'll see if there's a difference in those numbers.
Really excited about those numbers. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you.
And still ahead on OU Nightly, reactions from around the globe to the Paris attacks.
And we have Joe Puma standing by with the weather.
That's right, guys. As we take a look at our live shot out there, we can see a chance for severe weather coming up here. Overall, though, I'll have much more on the cold front timing and break everything down for you when we return. Welcome back to OU Nightly. Well, we are talking the threat for severe weather coming in here for the first part of your work week, for tonight especially. Here's what we have going on. The upper level weather pattern can really show here. We have this area of low pressure here out across Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's really, and we are in the strong winds here. That's creating that lift that's going to help fuel and spark those thunderstorms across the Sooner State. Here we are at 8 o'clock at night. You can see there's a few discrete supercells out there. These do have the potential of creating some tornadoes out there because of their discrete nature. However, as we go through the night, this will become more linear, and with that, our tornado threat will decrease while our wind and hail threat will increase. As this is at 10:30 at night, you can see mainly across western portions of Oklahoma from Woodward, Elk City, Clinton areas there. This will continue to move through here. By 12:30, it's starting to impact portions of the Oklahoma City metro and Norman areas. This is going to be bringing with it a very strong winds with it, folks, so definitely want to be weather aware for this one. We're talking winds in excess of 80 miles an hour here and hail to the size of baseballs in some of these storms. So definitely want to be weather aware. You do have a few hours, but my recommendation would be wherever you're going to be by around 10 o'clock tonight for these storms to move through the metro. By 2 o'clock in the morning, this thing just seems to just slow down just a little bit, still over us here across Norman. Let's break down the precip chances, though, by timing. We can see for your Monday evening, we are at 100% chance for western portions of Oklahoma. This is for the early evening hours. Now, as we head towards the afternoon or the late evening overnight hours, we're going to see basically central Oklahoma is in the threat for those showers and storms. 100% from basically Oklahoma City, Norman, Ada right there, and McAllister, all at 100%. So, folks, it's going to be a stormy night and a loud one at that. Talking about the temperatures, though, across the area, those are going to see those in the 50s, 54 degrees in Oklahoma City, 53 in Norman, and 52 in Lawton. But as we take a look at the highs tomorrow, we're seeing them in the 60s, so we will warm up just a little bit. Take a look at Guyman, though. There's that 46 degrees, so it's going to be a chilly day there. In fact, they could see snow with this system very late tonight into the early morning hours tomorrow. However, as we take a look at your 7-day forecast, that's when we're going to see those temperatures in the 60s, 66 for your Tuesday timeframe, 65 for Wednesday. But then look at that, temperatures dropping back, 45 though coming in here for your Saturday timeframe before we warm back up into the 50s going into the weekend time frame. So guys, it's looking like that cool down's coming in here, which is going to be really nice out there.
We're really looking forward to that, Joe, but those storms.
Yeah. Oh. This is actually our second severe weather season here for Oklahoma in the November month.
In November? That's kind of odd. That's so odd to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the contrasting hot and cold air masses coming in here, so, yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Absolutely, guys.
And it was a big weekend for Sooner sports. Hunter McKee is here with more. Hunter?
Thanks, Tyler. The Sooners beat down the Bears with a Heisman-like performance from Baker Mayfield. And the NFL takes a moment of silence. Sports is straight ahead. Welcome back. Saturday night, the OU football team racked up a huge win. They took down the 6th-ranked Baylor Bears in Waco, where Baylor had not lost in their last 20 home games. Let's start in the second quarter. Sooners up 1. Baker Mayfield delivers a long pass just as he gets hit, and it's complete to Sterling Shepard for the 39-yard touchdown. Sooners up 6. And then in the third quarter, Sooners up a touchdown. Samaje Perine breaks through the line and outruns the Baylor defense. Look at that stiff arm for the 55-yard score. Sooners go up by 2 touchdowns. And then, with OU up 10 with under 5 minutes left, Baylor quarterback Jared Stidham throws it downfield, and it's intercepted by Ahmad Thomas for the clincher. Sooners jump back on Baylor after 2 straight losses in this matchup, 44-34. And a Heisman-like performance by Baker Mayfield, which earned him Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week honors, completing 24 of 34 passes for 270 yards and 3 touchdowns, adding 76 rushing yards and a touchdown as well.
It means a lot. It means we've been, we've executed really well. We've been successful. We're moving the football. And normally, those guys, you're on winning teams. So all of it together has been a positive. I think it's fair that he's in that talk with other great players around the country because he's earned it with numbers and success on the field.
And the game was so big that ESPN's College Game Day was in town with Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, and David Pollack making their predictions for the big weekend matchup. Sooner fans were hoping they'd be in Norman this week, but there's still a chance for Bedlam. And to see a one-on-one interview with Baker Mayfield, be sure to check out Sooner Sports Pad this week. They'll also have defensive backs Stephen Parker and Jordan Thomas in the studio and check in with a former Sooner star who is making his name in the fashion industry. That's all tonight on Fox College Sports Central at 9 o'clock. You can also find Sports Pad on Fox Sports Oklahoma after the Thunder game at 10, and replays start here on OU TV after the newscast tomorrow. And after the tragedy in Paris last week, the NFL is boosting their security. Like here in Green Bay, fans had to wait longer to get inside the stadium due to more extensive security process. And around the country in yesterday's NFL games, players, coaches, and fans took a moment of silence for the victims and their families of the Paris terrorism attacks. And the Cowboys, aren't we tired of talking about them losing yet? Well, we're not done yet as they took on Tampa Bay on Sunday. Not much scoring, so let's go to the fourth quarter. And actually, you're not going to see this, but Jameis Winston scored on a bootleg, fakes out the defense for the Bucs go-ahead score. Cowboys lose their 7th straight game, 10-6, but good news for Dallas fans as Tony Romo will be back after the Cowboys bye week. And the Thunder took on the Boston Celtics last night. OKC led big in the third quarter, but only scored 11 fourth-quarter points as the Celtics took control. No Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook struggled. The Celtics took this one 185 OKC in Memphis tonight. And in the fourth quarter of the Vikings-Raiders game, a fan comes running out onto the field as Viking safety Antoine Exum tackles him or sort of just holds him down as the police arrive. Don't run on the field during a game, kids. You see people do that all the time. And what kind of stage do you, why would you do that?
Get attention?
I have no idea.
Maybe.
Attention. That's the only thing I can think
Usually
of.
see it at something like soccer matches or.
It's got to be just too much drinking.
He just wanted to get tackled.
Right. Thank you so much, Hunter.
Thank you.
And while France mourns the attacks in Paris, the world offers support. Stay tuned.
Stratton at the OU Nightly Update Desk. ISIS has issued a threat to the United States that D.C. could be its next target. In a video released today, an ISIS fighter swore that the group will strike Washington just as it struck Paris. For the first time in 2 decades, South Korean UN Chief Ban Ki-moon will visit North Korea to meet with leader Kim Jong-un. And don't forget to vote in the SGA presidential runoff today. Polls close tonight at 9. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Allie. Support for France pours in from around the world following the terrorist attacks in Paris. National moments of silence were held in countries such as Belgium, London, and Australia. And in Washington, D.C., flowers and trinkets continue to pile up outside the French embassy. But arguably the largest display of support, landmarks around the world were lit up red, white, and French blue.
And now we're going to go a little bit to Joe. Joe, you want to tell us a little bit about the weather in the next week?
Yeah, guys. It's looking like big storms coming in here for tonight, but then we're watching a cool down coming in here. Could be a chilly game day for your Saturday, looking at temperature of 45 degrees, so definitely want to have that hot chocolate on there. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you.
And thank you for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night, live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.